Before we get started, make sure you subscribe to my channel so you can stay up to date on all my fantastic videos. So Marvel has found a way to stay relevant even during their hiatus. They're out here fighting for Spider-Man, making huge deals with Disney, and releasing some top tier comics. But the biggest controversy by far is Marvel announcing that they want people of color to play Magneto and Charles Xavier in the new X-Men. So of course the normal fanboys are arguing about validity and us blackwashing everything, but I was really surprised to see a lot of people of color fighting this choice as well, particularly with Magneto. Well, my friends, I'm here to let you know that they definitely need to be people of color. Actually, they should have been changed to people of color. I definitely get why the core group of X-Men were not people of color, especially when they were released. But since then, there have been multiple arcs in which they've gone into different multiverses, and not once did they change their cultural identity. But where the main argument is coming from is regarding Magneto and his storyline. For those of you who don't know, Magneto is one of the main villains throughout all of the X-Men run. Some people may call him an anti-hero, but for this purpose, let's just call him the main villain. Despite popular belief, Magneto really didn't get an origin story until 2008, which was after the first X-Men movie. Now, it was hinted that he was Jewish and he was part of the Holocaust, but a full-on origin story didn't come until recently. Now, despite of what some people may say, the X-Men were 100% inspired by the Civil Rights Movement. Charles Xavier was supposed to be the teachings of Martin Luther King Jr., and Magneto was a more extreme version of that, like Malcolm X. Bear with me now. Because Magneto was white, it was really hard to identify with him, especially with him saying he's fighting for equal rights. Now, when you tie him to the Holocaust and him having that fire from being part of a genocide, that brought a new flair to the story. And I have to say, there aren't that many Jewish American superheroes that are being represented in the comic books. So I can understand a little bit why people are fighting for Magneto to stay Jewish. But here are my counterpoints. The Holocaust didn't only affect the Jewish community. While it was a huge tragedy for them, there were also other groups that were affected and honestly silent during that cause, some of which were black. Another huge group that were affected during the Holocaust were gypsies. And in fact, Magneto falls in love with a gypsy named Magda while he's in a concentration camp. And she's not Jewish. My second counterpoint is we're starting to move past the time where you can keep the X-Men current and still have Magneto be part of the Holocaust, because he doesn't have any anti-aging properties that's part of his mutant abilities. Let's use Iron Man for an example. His origin story is centered around the Vietnam War and communism. However, it was irrelevant when it came back. So to modernize it and bring it back to 2008, the way they did that was to put it around ISIS and the Iraqi war. I'm not saying that the Holocaust is not relevant, but if we're trying to connect to the people of today, there are so many other atrocities that Magneto can be a spawn of and be just as fired up. He doesn't have to be African American, but we all know that there's a genocide going around for African American people. But let's take my bias away from being African American and look at so many other cultures that can say the same thing. Shoot, he can be from Palestine, or Darfur, Cambodia, Sudan, Kuwait, Korea, Afghanistan. And if y'all really want to get crazy, Magneto can be a homosexual man who's witnessed all his friends and family, not blood family, get murdered in front of him. My point about the X-Men is they're supposed to reflect strife and hard times, and there's so many other stories that can be told through them. And while I understand the Jewish community is very much still reeling from the effects of the Holocaust, they've received reparations and justice against their oppressors. Think about how a story would resonate if a mutant, someone with superhuman abilities, can't help change or stop a genocide that he's experienced that is still ongoing. Because xenophobia goes way beyond being able to manipulate metal. Do you agree? Let me know in the comments below or hit me up on the gram. Until next time, have a fantastic week, my friends.